So, do you want to just introduce yourself and your startup?
Sure. My name's Tommy. I'm the founder of Pi, the UK's first self-assessment app. We're a year old and we're looking to revolutionise tax in the UK.
That sounds amazing. So are you yourself technical? Is this something that was a technical thing that you had an idea for and understood the technical background and wanted to do yourself, or was this something you had to outsource?
I myself am not technical at all. I think the extent of my technical skills is probably a web builder where you're like all Wix and you build on your website, but yeah, then that's not technical at all. So I think for my product is very sophisticated. It's very it's got bank level encryption. It's got open banking connections. It's got HMRC APIs. It's got 4,500 screens. And in this day and age with hackers, we get hacking attempts every single week. You need the best of the best to
Wow.
build this app and build an app. So I don't, and yeah, I'm the ideas guy, and I have my CTO and the team, and they're great, and they build the app, but I could never do that.
Yeah. So when it goes from having the idea, so obviously, so you were the original person to have the idea, yeah. When does it go from having the idea to then implementing and then finding someone to help implement that? Like, is there a threshold you crossed? When was it sort of going from this is something I want to do to finding it? What point in your process for developing it did it come to that?
So for me, it started out as problem solving. So I had a side business. I was doing tax returns myself, very manual, one-on-one, very paper based spreadsheets, and slowly I improved the processes through spreadsheets and formulas and calculations, and then I kind of try to automate as much as possible because it's a repetitive process, right? Expenses forms, etc. And then we released an MVP in 2020 with an app where we had a wrapper where we collect all the documents, and then we had a CMS that would allow us to process the documents. And that really blew up. That COVID hit and people couldn't meet face to face. So that app was really, really useful and you could scale, right? Every business, it's about how many people can you serve. And with an app and with a digital service, the more people that you can serve, the more money you make. So the app, we took the app to about 25,000 users, 1.2 million a month in revenue. And then we decided to really reinvest all the money into building full automation. So open banking connections and HMRC connections. And so the user could do it all himself. So once you hand over the whole process to the user and they can do it themselves, ultimately you've got a very scalable product now because you're a marketplace. You're an Airbnb, you're a PayPal, you're an eBay. You're not delivering a service, they're just servicing themselves. So that kind of MVP really showed us that the proposition was really strong, demand was there, and we just had to keep improving the app, and then the app's really amazing now. We're really happy with the app.
That's great to hear. So when you went about finding the initial person to start building this thing, how did you go about that? Did you know someone to do that? Or did you have to actually do your own work and try and find someone to do that?
So I initially found someone on Upwork to build the MVP, and the MVP was quite basic. It was more of a document uploader, and then it got to a point where I wanted to really progress it and make it more sophisticated. And the developers that I had from India, they weren't really capable of delivering the features that I wanted. So we looked in the UK. We looked word of mouth. We asked people, and we had a few people try out and stuff and do something more on the agency side to just prove the concept and they could deliver a working product. And then obviously they had their friends and they brought their colleagues in and they've worked for before, and we grew up to a 20-man strong team. So yeah, I mean, in the digital world, your developers make or break your product.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you need to invest heavily. You need to get the best people you can, otherwise your product just won't work. And it's very frustrating. I've had it before where you're trying to deliver a service and the technology is letting you down. You're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead. So you've got to speculate. You've got to invest heavily. You've got to get the best of the best to build your product, and then it'll go easy. It'll go smoothly, and the rewards will be there for you.
So when you made that transition from using sort of outsource, sort of gun for hire type devs to actually finding someone who was going to be your CTO, that kind of level, what qualities were you looking for in that? Because I think we can sometimes look at it on a sort of level of like, I need my dev to have experience with PHP or, React, that kind of thing. But that sort of is like a base level, that's sort of like, that's sort of what's needed. But outside of that, it feels like when you're actually trying to find someone to be, especially like a CTO, actually looking for someone to put not just to be able to build something, but be able to put your trust in and sort of be able to help build something on a larger scale. What kind of qualities are you looking for in that?
So your CTO, in my opinion, you should really test them out. My opinion, because I'm so inept as a technician, right? I don't even know all the terminology, and I should do really. I'm a solution based guy, right? I'm features. I'm like, I want about to do this, this, and that, and then you tell me, because I think sometimes technology evolves so fast. If you try and pigeonhole one particular skill, you know how quickly technology moves.
Of course.
It might not be relevant to your product. So what I like to what I did is I had features that I really wanted, right? I had OCR technology I wanted to build, and I had different really quite niche features. This was back in like 2020 when they were niche. Now they're quite common. Um, and the developers I had before, they said it wasn't possible. They just said we can't do it. So the guy I brought in, he said it is possible, and he delivered it and working product very quickly. And then I knew from the fact that he could deliver in the real world. So I think when you can work with someone before and you can see them perform and deliver in the real world, then it builds trust, because anyone can interview and anyone can say they can do this. They all say they can do everything. So it's the real world testing you need to have.
All right, we'll do one more question, just because I think yours, especially from the technical perspective, being non-technical and this being such a technical product, I think there's a lot of counterplay between yourself and the technical side of it. So when it comes to sort of that, is there I feel like it must be difficult to find that boundary between your side of it, the business side and that side of it, and the technical skill and the tech side of it. I feel like in any situation like that, there's always going to be sort of some level of conflict, not necessarily bad conflict, but conflict between what the tech side is saying that they can do and what should go next, and what you're saying should go next. And have you found, at least in your experience, that there was that difficult for you? Has that been a thing? It might not have been, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge. It's how to prioritize features, right? Because I want every feature now, and from a technical point of view, some features take a lot longer, more complicated, and some features are a quick win. So what we do is we have a feature and value matrix. So we pitch that on an XY base, on an X and Y axis, and we say what is an easy win and that has lots of value. Okay, so we don't discuss it. We don't have, because we're two idiots that will just basically bang heads and get nowhere. So we look at the data, right? We go to the customers, what's got the most value for you? And then my CTO will say that's the easiest win. So it could be, for example, the ability to edit a transaction, something that customers keep asking for. Edit transactions, they make a mistake, right? Rather than delete it and make a new one. So for us, it's a really quick, easy win, but it's a lot of value. So we actually have a meeting next Wednesday, and we're going to pitch about 100 ideas from feedback from customers, and we're going to organize those in the ones that are most popular and most requested, and then we're going to put that on the time it took to deliver that feature. And that value matrix that you build out, that determines our roadmap for the year.
That's brilliant.
Because and it's not just the CTO, you've got the head of product, you've got head of marketing, because marketing needs to know when products are coming out and what features are coming out. You've got customer service team, because they got features that they want on their CMS, right? They're putting in saying we need more features on the CMS. We need to be able to search transactions, and we need to be able to. So it's all the different pieces of the business of the pie, and trying to negotiate what they want on the table. But ultimately, you have this value matrix, and that makes it super easy. And then you just pick the ones at the top right and work backwards.
A value matrix is a great idea. As a CTO of ours, a fan of Manchester, that's a very interesting thing for me to do. But thank you very much.